We've been doing technical industry, crowdfunding industry report for past 3 years. We were surveying European crowdfunding platforms, asking them a number of questions, and then we were publishing a nicely designed report with a lot of insights we were able to collect. So why it is important to get this data collected now from European perspective?
Well, I think, for every industry that is trying to achieve legitimacy and to grow and to convince people about its viability and potential, it's always good to be armed with the proper information about the state of things and how they are developing. And that's important just for this discussion with every potential stakeholder. And also for us to be a bit more, self-critical about things are actually going and where do we have challenges and where do we have problems that we need to address. This is basically creating some sort of benchmark or some sort of fact sheet to aid anybody who's interested in this and just wants to know what's going on, what are the facts beyond the hoo-ha and the buzzwords of crowdfunding and how exciting it is. So that's one aspect to it. The other aspect of it is to also have this historical record so that we can show how things evolve through time and how they change for the better and for the worse. But things are dynamic. Things are not remaining in the same way. And we want to see how things are changing and try to trace also why they are changing. So that's another dimension to it, the longitudinal dimension. Finally, it also has an educational leg, because when we teach people about this, we have a course about crowdfunding, so I use a lot of these facts and figures when we teach. And when we introduce the conditions in different types of countries and markets and segments in terms of the different type of crowdfunding models, people need to understand the differences between them and how they work and what's the actual meaning in terms of practice for that. That is from our head and the average guy's interest in it. But from the platform's interest, this is very good market intelligence. If each platform will need to collect data from all other platforms and to try to sum up the numbers and try to see where things are going and what's the general trend in the industry, then they either will pay a consultant a lot of money to do it, or that they will need to invest a lot of their own time to do it. So this is a way to get relatively good information for market intelligence and to make your own strategic decisions at the business level and without investing too much in it. And the final stakeholder, I would say, is the regulator and the policymaker, because the regulators are in this strange position that on the one hand, they don't want to regulate if this is not going anywhere. At the same time, they need to regulate because risks are being taken and stakeholders need to be protected from investors, backers, fundraisers. So in this tension between what is too much regulation, what is too little regulation, there is a need for information to decide that. And one way to get that information is to look into the macro level and what's happened. Not when one loan defaults or one company goes bankrupt or one platform misbehaves, but when seeing what's happening in general, what's going on with the industry at the total level, rather than sticking to these outlier or the noisemakers, at the sides of things. So it's very important for regulation and policy making, and especially focusing now on Europe is this new implementation of the European crowdfunding service provider regime, because that sets a standard for all platforms that wish to operate with crowdfunding for business, either through equity or through business loans. And this should be implemented in a similar way across all countries, with the possibility to passport such licenses. And again, at the European level, there's an interest to see, first, to what extent is it actually being implemented? At the other level is what does the industry think about this regulation? Is it something that hampers growth or facilitates growth or strikes a good balance between the two? So, but without data, without information, we can't really answer any of these questions, and everything will be intuitions and opinions, but not factual.